Hi, I'm Dr. Chad Larson. There's something I want you to be appalled about. There's over 11 million deaths worldwide that are attributed to a poor diet. That makes it the leading risk factor for death across the world. This is a global statistics that makes it the #1 risk factor for death, a poor diet. And that's not even the thing that I want you to be appalled about. What's appalling is that a very recent study that was just published a few days ago in a medical journal called The Lancet, which is one of the top tier medical journals out of the UK, published an interesting study that looked at nutrition education in medical schools. And the quick summary is that basically it doesn't exist. There is no nutrition education in medical schools. Basically, think of it this way. The thing that makes humans healthy, which is pretty undeniably diet nutrition, is completely lacking and completely missing from medical school. And so the thing that is most fundamental to human health is missing from medical school. And there's plenty of education around pathology and pharmaceuticals, and these things should be there. But there's also a complete lack of nutrition, diet, basic foundation of nutrition and basic function for health of the human body. And in fact, when medical students are given just a basic nutritional assessment, over half of the students do not pass just a basic nutrition examination. And here's the thing, it's not the medical student's fault. When they're surveyed in the study out of the Lancet that was just published, when medical students are surveyed, they clearly want to learn nutrition. They realize that it's a fundamental aspect of human health. It's like a no-duh kind of thing, like everybody knows that, but it's just lacking in their education. And it's frustrating to a lot of medical students, particularly the ones who want to take a deeper dive into this really important information. They cite things like maybe the short, very short classes in some institutions that are actually offered are taught by, let's call it non-experts in the nutrition field. And so they don't feel like the education is very high quality. And then they also feel like that it's just generally underemphasized, underappreciated, just the topic as a whole, nutrition and diet. And so they just feel like there's just kind of a lack of understanding or care of need for this type of education in medical school. So it continues, and this is something not from like a long time ago. This is recent, this is new, this is information that these researchers pooled from multiple studies currently. And so this is a current issue. And like I said, poor diet is a major risk factor for health issues worldwide. There's studies from all over the world that were sort of compiled in this one recent study that was just published. And so it begs the question, what are they teaching in medical school? What is it that they're learning? What they're learning is a very deep dive into the basic biomedical sciences, which is absolutely key, of course, and then a much deeper dive into pathology. Basically, they teach you what is healthy and normal, and then how to find what is unhealthy and abnormal and what is pathological. Because if you can name the disease, then you could match it up with the right medication. And that's pretty much the clinical aspect of what's being taught, without really any information about how to prevent these conditions. And again, this information is vital. It saves lives. If you could understand how to diagnose a pathology, we can help to save somebody's life by giving them a certain medication. But we call that disease care. That's sick care. That's not preventative medicine by any matter. What is key, what should be just as much emphasized, is how to prevent these diseases, because people highly regard their doctor's opinion, and the doctors don't have any education about what is a healthy diet, especially for that individual, much less just on kind of a broad spectrum sort of way. So patients are left to just try to figure this out on their own. And oftentimes there's a lot of misinformation. They don't know what's right for them. and their poor diet just continues, unfortunately. So this is something that I think we all need to be aware of, that if you're hoping to get some education from your doctor about diet and nutrition, it's just not part of their education, unfortunately. Even though medical students want it, it's just not there at the moment. So we all have to be our own sort of ambassadors for our health, and we have to find the right kind of doctors who are fully educated in nutrition and diet and start to seek information, because it'd be nice to prevent these conditions instead of just wait around until you have a full-blown pathology and then you can go see a doctor and then they know what to do. It'd be nice if we can kind of capture it in that gray area where, okay, you don't have a pathology that we can name right now, but by looking at your diet and nutrition, here's some things that we can do to mitigate any future increase in risk factors that would lead you to some kind of pathological manifestation. And so this is the kind of information that we need to get out there, that you have to ask for, and hopefully eventually the tide will turn and they'll start incorporating this kind of stuff, and not just a weekend course or some little short kind of brief useless course. It has to be a deep enough dive to where the doctors feel like they have enough information that they can actually help to coach their patients on what they should eat, or at the very least understand that there's other types of providers that they could send them to for better dietary information. But even that doesn't seem to be really happening, and it just kind of perpetuates, because as these doctors become teachers themselves in these institutions, they just kind of perpetuate the same lack of diet and nutritional education. And the research of this study, what they emphasized over and over again is that they feel it should be an absolute requirement built into the curricula of these medical schools that nutrition and diet should just be a main component of their education, that's fully accredited with all the proper faculty to teach them the information. So hopefully this happens, but until then, just you have to be your own advocate and keep studying the information about what's out there. I'll try to keep feverishly reading you the studies and bring you the latest information as best I could on diet and nutrition, so we could prevent these really, really horrible statistics. It doesn't have to happen. It shouldn't be that way. Diet and nutrition is just absolutely fundamental to human health. So I'll keep reading you the studies and bringing you the information. Until then, keep it real.